Welcome back, everybody, to the Below Average Joe's MMA Podcast, episode number 93. Yeah. It's Friday. We're here at the end of another week to come at you with another preview, this time for hashtag UFC Vegas 25.
Yeah, they're still going.
I'm Noah B. That's Dominick Reyes. How are you doing?
It's Friday. Mm-hmm. Now, Noah, I'm actually going to start the episode off on a somber note.
Okay.
This is, at least for the foreseeable future, the last in-person podcast recording.
Yeah, I don't think it's really hit me yet that that's the case. 93 episodes, most of them in person. We got a few, yeah. But it does feel like the end of an era of sorts. End of kind of phase one or
phase
two.
One of the podcast.
Yeah, like if you want to look at it that way. So, but it is a sad kind of note, but also I feel like it's more for us. I think the viewers won't notice too much of a difference.
Yes. Because
I think we do a pretty good job remotely to kind of keep people engaged with our conversation. And I think it's only going to get better. I think we got some big stuff planned to kind of keep that engagement up and
to make up for it.
And even increase the engagement a little bit.
If not more so. Yeah, I agree.
So because of that, I think the viewers should have a lot to look forward to.
Yes.
Us, it's just a little more sad.
Yeah. The end of an era, but the start of something very special.
And you know what this is. You know what this can lead to. And I'm just talking out loud. We haven't even really talked about this.
Let's have a heart-to-heart with them.
Well, because you're moving out of the city, but you're only going to be about 2 hours away.
Right.
So on the occasions when maybe I go to you or you go to me and we're watching fights, we can do some fun stuff in person, whether it be an in-person recording. More likely, based off of how we're kind of going to be doing things, maybe we do like a fight companion or something.
That's
I think that could be really fun as we look to branch out a little bit with our content.
Yeah, big things are coming.
Yeah, so I think if anything, this move might actually be a benefit to our viewers.
That's true. It's a good way to put it.
Now,
but enough of the sad stuff.
Well, here, I want to talk about something else too.
Do it.
So for our younger viewers out there, you guys might know this thing called TikTok.
Oh shit, you're doing this? All right.
Yeah, so
I'm kind of down.
So I'm 23.
Yeah.
As are you.
As am I. Freshly 23.
But yeah, I'm a little bit older. 23.
You're more green.
November was my birthday, so I'm almost at the halfway point. Maybe I already am to being 24.
Old ass.
It's bad. I don't have TikTok. I know nothing about it. Besides that, it's a not as good version of.
They're gonna be coming at your neck after that.
I'm joking. I know nothing about it. I was a Vine guy. I loved the Vine in high school, but
me being the younger of the two.
Yeah, the younger of the two.
I'm the trendy one.
Right. Kidding. I just wanted to put it out there. If you guys know anything about these food hacks.
Yeah. We just did one.
We had dinner before this.
So if there's any belches coming through the mic tonight,
it's because we had a big dinner.
Tell them what we did, though.
Well, okay, first we went to a local food truck that we love.
Yes, very true.
Sword and Smoke in Bowling Green.
Yes, support your local business.
Food truck. It's on Wooster on the main street in Bowling Green, Ohio. Check it out if you ever come through the city. But they were out of meat.
Yes.
So we're like, okay.
Well, shit.
Well, we're like sitting there thinking.
Where did we start driving around? Didn't know what we were going to do.
Dom brings up about going to KFC.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, I could do KFC, And he starts talking about food hacks, and he's like looking them up on his phone. So we pull over in the parking lot of KFC so he can like show me these food hacks. He's like, we should do one of these, just like it's basically mixing foods together.
Yeah.
For those who don't know. So he starts looking them up. And he's like, all these are for KFC or for Chick-fil-A. I can't find the KFC ones.
Yeah.
I'm like sitting there thinking,
it's not too far away.
So I'm like, do you just want to go to Chick-fil-A? And the reason that's funny is because Chick-fil-A is probably about a 20-minute drive.
Yeah, we went a ways.
Yeah, while KFC was like 5.
Yeah, we were literally in KFC's parking lot. And we're like, nah, we'll leave.
So I drove us to Chick-fil-A, and we got 2 12-piece nuggets.
Yes, not each, but what goes into one bowl?
Yeah, yes. It's 2.
Well, yeah, each. But Yeah.
Or wait,
one bowl consists of
so each
a 12-piece
one of us,
nugget.
one of us got a 12-piece nugget
Yep.
fry.
Yep.
a small mac and cheese bowl.
Yes. And then the sauces of your choosing.
And I did all Chick-fil-A sauce because that's what everybody should do.
And I did Chick-fil-A sauce and barbecue sauce.
Yeah, you got a little cheeky with it.
Yeah.
And let me just say,
give them a nice shake and some some
and
plasticware. Yeah, Tupperware.
And let me just say,
wow.
I'm not big on like hopping on trends and stuff like that, but that was really good.
It was good. It was worth it.
The kid who
the kid
Shout
who took my
his
card. Name? I wish I remember his name.
I don't remember his name, but the kid who took my debit card in the drive-thru.
It's like that's not even the best one.
Yeah, he was telling you about spicy chicken sandwich.
Spicy chicken sandwich with mac and cheese and buffalo sauce.
Yeah.
So that's next.
So for any of you guys that are looking to get a little out there with your food options,
change it up a little.
Don't say that we haven't done anything for you.
Yeah.
You won't be disappointed, I hope. Especially because it's Chick-fil-A, man. You don't even have to do that. Chick-fil-A's so good if you just do the boring usual.
Yeah. So why not change it up?
Why not mix it up a little bit?
So that's brought to you by the Joes.
Yeah, true.
We wouldn't lie to you all.
Yeah.
It was good.
That was an above-average meal.
Yes.
For some below-average
Joes.
Now,
all right,
let's get into some fight.
We got to talk about MMA, I guess.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, this ain't a food podcast, right? So
let us know. If
it is time for the news.
The news.
We got a few downers here.
Yeah, a lot of sad stuff.
So we have a May 8th card coming up, looking like it's going to be really fun. But
the whole thing fell apart. No, I'm just kidding.
We had a legend fight. Diego Sanchez is unfortunately out of his scheduled bout with Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
The legend fight.
As of now, no replacement has been made to fight Cowboy Cerrone, but the UFC actively seeking Cowboy, looking to stay on that date. So it looks like he will be getting an opponent here.
And is that like the most Donald Cerrone thing ever?
Oh, I mean, come on. I mean, it's just what this guy does.
Yeah.
You know, even though lately, I guess in the past, really ever since he lost to Conor McGregor in the main event of UFC 246, he's always been a guy to just anybody, any place, anytime.
Yeah.
Even though now he fights less.
Which is probably good.
Well, yeah.
He was fighting too much.
But, so he's fighting less, but it's still the same Cowboy.
Right.
Any ideas who maybe this replacement opponent might be?
No. The issue being that it's so close. We're 2 weeks out, and it's a fight night, and it's not even a main event.
I think it's going to be Kevin Holland. I'm just kidding.
You know, that would be a way to make your welterweight debut, wouldn't it? And it's not a wrestler. I mean,
I can't take credit for that one. I saw a lot of comments on the original post about Diego being out saying that, but I thought that was funny.
To be fair, you mentioned how cool of a fight it would be if Nick Diaz were to really return with that, and I can't disagree. That would be an amazing fight. The problem being, like I said, it's a fight night. It's not a main event, and he wants to stay on that date. But the fight itself, you can't deny that would be amazing.
If they decide to move Cowboy out of that date, Nick Diaz in like July
just for Nick Diaz,
June. Yeah. I'm just saying, that would be...
What a fight that would be for the fans.
I know I said Jorge Masvidal on Monday, but really the more I've been kind of thinking about it...
You can do anything.
I really like better, because Nick Diaz hasn't fought in so long. The idea of him fighting like a Donald Cerrone, Robbie Lawler.
Yeah,
guys
I agree.
Like that.
Even a Carlos Condit.
Matt Brown. Carlos Condit. Yeah, great options. But that's happening. Hopefully Diego heals up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily want to see him in the octagon again, if I'm being frank.
Yeah, I wasn't big when that fight got announced to begin with, to be truthful.
Yeah.
Now this one, though.
The main event this May 8th card. You know, the MMA gods had to take something away from us because the pay-per-view we got last Saturday was so good.
Fair trade-off.
TJ Dillashaw out. The cut on the eyebrow, nasty looking.
Yeah.
So he's out of his scheduled 5-round main event with Corey Sandhagen. The replacement looking like it's going to be Michelle Watterson and Marina Rodriguez.
The new main event, which is random, and I don't hate it.
So let's start with this fight's Dillashaw-Sandhagen being moved.
Yes, they're going to keep that fight together, which they should.
I would say maybe July, late June, maybe.
Yeah, it depends on how quickly that cut can heal.
Because that cut was pretty
It was deep. Yeah.
Well, but as far as the new main event goes, I'm
not taking slander on it.
No, I really like it.
I'm not going to do it.
I'm gonna go off of what you said.
For anyone that is hating on this,
Michelle Watterson.
Yeah.
Her last fight was a main event, also one that
came on short notice.
That
got a lot of hate.
against Angela Hill. Ended up being a Fight of the Year contender.
Yes.
That she won.
Yes.
While Marina Rodriguez fought on UFC 257
on the main card.
Amanda Ribas, who is probably the biggest prospect in the strawweight division, knocked her out twice.
Brutally, yeah.
I think that this fight's really good.
It's an awesome fight.
It's not Dillashaw Sanhagen.
Right.
But, I mean,
but
what could
is?
be?
Yeah, exactly.
When you have to scramble, I think it's better to put this fight in the main event than... I actually don't know what the co-main is on that card off the top of my head.
Well, there were a couple good fights on this card. It was actually kind of a low-key banger of a
card. I knew that, and I've looked at it. I can't think of it right now.
But one that comes to mind off the rip that our buddy JP talked about is Neal versus Neal. Jeff Neal versus Neil Magny was on that card. So he was like, I wonder why they didn't make that one the main event. Because this fight between Marina and Michelle was not even... Like, it was the fight that they were making, but it wasn't hooked to a card yet.
Right.
So you got to think they were kind of still just debating on when. I mean, they're like, wait, if they're both available, we'll just do it now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to wonder how quickly this fight was really going to be booked if this main event doesn't fall out.
Yeah.
Because this is a really quick...
And I wonder, were they planning on making this a fight night main event in the first place then? Because it's a whole different world training for 3 rounds and 5.
It could be. I have a hard time believing that because I wonder if they were looking to get these 2 women on a fight night really soon anyways.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is a quick turnaround if you're
2 weeks.
If you haven't been training for this fight already.
Especially if you haven't been for 5 rounds.
But, yeah, I think the only challenge that's going to be presented here, and I don't know, we'll see if Marina or if Michelle maybe do some press and talk more about it.
Yeah.
I would think that the biggest challenge for both these women is going to be the 5 rounds.
Yeah.
I would say that this was originally looking like it was going to be a 3-round fight. Maybe on a fight night in May or June.
Well, and that's what's interesting, too, because we've seen Michelle go 5 rounds a couple times. Marina, we've never seen.
That's true.
Big jump here.
That's true. Marina does have a style also very draining. Mm-hmm. Not just on her opponent, but on herself.
She has a very high output.
I have no doubt Michelle's ability to go 5 rounds. She's proven it. She doesn't
get better.
She doesn't really slow down.
Yeah.
Marina hasn't showed it. She also hasn't been put in that position. This would be her first 5-round fight.
Big test for
her. So I'm very much excited for that, considering how good she looked against Amanda Ribas back in January.
That was crazy.
For a girl that's so good on the ground, to do it with her hands, oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, now that you mention that, Ribas is actually on that card, too.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of some other ones.
She's fighting Angela Hill.
She's fighting Angela Hill,
so
yeah.
the losers,
funny enough.
and then you got the winners matched up there.
So that makes all kinds of sense.
Now, our last one here. This is a bit of a banger. Fight announcement for July 24th. 2 top 15 bantamweights, right?
Yes.
For some reason, I know...
Kyler just cracked in after
that's what I was about to say. Kyler Phillips and Rafael Sunsao. I knew he's a
perennial guy.
Staple of the bantamweight division. Kyler Phillips I wasn't too sure about, but...
That's a banger.
This is a fun one because Kyler Phillips has really been making a splash here in the last year.
And a Sunsao needs a win.
A Sunsao, haven't seen him since UFC 250 where he got correct by Cody Garbrandt.
At the buzzer.
Yeah, at the buzzer. Cody Garbrandt was in talks of knockout of the year for that one.
Yeah.
So a Sunsao on a bit of a dip here.
And look at that. I mean, Marlon Moraes, Corey Sandhagen, Cody Garbrandt. 3 straight losses to those guys. Holy shit,
It's
man.
a killer's row. This whole division.
That division, yeah.
It's a tough division. I mean, look at a guy like Sean O'Malley who looks like he can be like the future of this division.
Yeah.
Look how hard of a time he's having to get up past, Marlon Vera.
Yeah.
And even kind of, he had his moments in his last fight where he was struggling. It just goes to show that, like, this whole division, not even just the guys ranked.
It's nuts.
It's a killer's row.
And
Kyler Phillips has passed each test, though. His nickname Matrix.
Yeah, in his most recent fight with Song Yadong.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That fight was nuts.
Was that his most recent fight?
Yeah, that was the win he's coming off of. That's why he's ranked now.
And it was. Yeah, I forgot.
Because I started announcing, and the winner is Song Yadong. And I was like, oh, shit. It was Kyler Phillips.
That shows how close it was.
Yeah.
But I think we both kind of thought Song Yadong might have won that fight. But
great fight.
Song Yadong, another top prospect in this division. Another kid who struggled to really get past those tests at bantamweight. I'm really looking forward to this one. You got a stylistic matchup. A Sunsao.
35 pro fights to 10.
Pretty sure, if I remember correctly, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Oh, yeah.
Kyler Phillips, though, the man does some crazy shit on the feet.
I mean, he's good everywhere, too.
That's
what's
really
so special about him.
He really showed a lot against Song Yudong, actually. I'm really looking forward to this one. I don't know if a Sun Sao can really get it done on the feet, but if he can get this fight to the ground...
And we say it a lot with fights like this, a very important fight for both guys in very different ways.
Yeah, it's really for Kyler to get into the top 10. And for
How
Sun
good
Sao,
are you? Yeah.
He's got to try to maintain his relevancy here.
Yeah.
Because if he gets another loss, that's 4 in a row in a talent-stacked division like this.
Good luck
you're either
back
talking,
up.
after this, you're talking moving up a weight class, or you're talking about being cut.
Yeah.
That's really what you're talking about after this.
That's true.
Now, that's all for our fight announcements, but as for the rest...
I got any Contender Series fans in the building, baby?
My Contender Series fans, please stand up.
I'm standing.
I can't stand up, even though I love the show.
I'm up.
I love the show, but I'm a fake fan because I never watched it in the fall.
Fake fan.
Contender Series Asia.
Love it.
In the works for June at the UFC Apex. Gonna consist, as the name would suggest, mostly Chinese fighters.
And if anyone watched UFC 261 this past weekend, they are hitting that market hard, aren't they?
They had four Asian fighters, 3 of which I believe were making their debut.
Yep.
Now, they did go 0-4 on the card.
That's true.
But made a splash, though.
Yes.
Aori Kilang.
Yes.
That fight of the
was
year.
Nuts. And we talk about this all the time.
And
globalization.
Rong Zhu, the youngest fighter ever.
Yep.
First fighter in the UFC to be born after the year 2000.
We're old.
That's crazy.
Zhang Weili, of course, the then champion, of course, got knocked out by Rose to lose the belt, but still one of the absolute best fighters, especially in the women's divisions that the UFC has. And now here we are doing a Contender Series. They've done it for Brazil. Now they're expanding it to Asia. And this is just going to be something that we continue to see. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple years from now we see Contender Series Africa, Contender Series UAE, United Arab Emirates. So
yeah, I definitely could see Contender Series becoming a big branch off.
And we talked about this on the Reebok episode with the Contender Series stuff and like the Performance Center stuff that we mentioned. How they're just expanding, putting PIs all over the world. They're building UFC gyms in Shanghai.
Yeah.
Here's another example.
I do think it's interesting. This will be, at least from the report that came out, this looks like it is going to be filmed and held at the Apex in Vegas.
Right.
Even though it's so focused around these Chinese fighters.
Yeah.
I would like to think over the next few years as the UFC expands with their PIs and things like that in these other countries, I'd like to think that eventually this will
just do it there.
Done in Asia. But... for the time being, I'm really on board with this. You've mentioned Brazil's already a branch off.
One, yeah.
Any more Contender Series content, the better.
Oh, for me and you, for everyone, just bring it on. I'm so excited for them.
I will say, don't expect that date of June to really hold up. I could see this being a little bit
after tough.
Yeah, because the Ultimate Fighter gonna have that Tuesday nights on lock for the summer. So. I would expect maybe June to be a little too soon. But
that's even better, though. Because then we got Tough all summer on Tuesdays. Right when it's done, here's Contender Series.
I mean, unless they want to move this to a different date, we might have Contender Series Asia and just Contender Series on at the same time.
This is true.
I'm not going to complain about it.
I'm here for it. Give me more fights.
Give us more content, baby.
Yeah, baby.
But that's going to be it for today's edition of The News.
The news. It's time.
We got 6 fights to preview here.
Another UFC Vegas. Number 25.
Headlined by, as Dana White called it, the fight to make at light heavyweight.
And I don't disagree.
Dominick Reyes and Jiri Prochazka. Jiri Prochazka making his second walk in the UFC.
Rumor has it Noah's going to be cage side for this one for Jiri.
I'm in his corner.
Yeah.
But Dominick Reyes, no slouch himself, the guy who probably the closest to, I don't know how to
we
word
think
it.
He won.
I thought he beat John Jones, but I thought Thiago Santos beat John Jones.
True.
So, I mean, in that way, I guess it's not as special to me. But
he's got a cool first name.
In my opinion, I thought I'll put it like this. Thiago Santos won a split decision. Thiago Santos lost a split decision.
Right.
Dominick Reyes lost a unanimous decision.
But it should not.
I thought Dominick more obviously won his fight with Jones.
And we also
at least in my eyes, won it more clearly than Thiago.
And we still thought Thiago won too.
So, I think Dominick Reyes is the most clear victory over John Jones. So we know how good he can be, but coming off
the Jan Blachowicz
loss to Jan Blachowicz. But we're going to start at the bottom of the main card.
We always got to start at the bottom. 6 fights.
Women's flyweight division. I'm very excited to see these two young women's flyweights.
I like the prospect match.
Because women's flyweight, definitely a division that I want to start seeing some.
It's starting to stack up.
Strides here. Mm-hmm. Poliana Botello.
Beautiful.
And Luana Carolina.
Very nice. Yeah, so Poliana is 8-3, 3-2 in the UFC. She's got 6 KO TKOs. 4 of those have came in the first round. Notable win against Pearl Gonzalez, who I believe just signed with Bare Knuckle. She beat her via unanimous decision. Notable losses, Cynthia Calvillo via submission and Jillian Roberson via decision. So tough fights there for her in her young career. And then for Luana or Luana? Luana. I like Luana. Luana is 6-2. She's 1-1 in the UFC and won a fight on the Contender Series there. She's got 2 KO TKOs, 1 submission. 2 of those 3 finishes have came in the first round. Notable wins against Priscilla Koshera, who lost a fight to, I believe, Valentina Shevchenko. Was that the same person?
Priscilla Koshera.
When Valentina got that nasty stoppage that was late, was that her?
That was Mario Yamasaki. If she dies, she dies.
Oh, boy. That was via unanimous decision. And then her notable loss, Noah loves this one, the knee bar to Ariana Lipski.
Oh, my God.
Yikes. Her knee was going the wrong way.
I was literally watching that with my sister.
And you started cramping.
House, and I started yelling. I was like, Macy, my leg!
Stretch it out. Give me ice. This is a fun fight.
Yeah, 2 young women here in women's flyweight. Botello, 32. She is kind of at the tail end of her prime. While for Luana, she's 27. Really kind of starting to come into her own here.
Both very green.
And, Carolina's the one that has a submission win between the two. But she showed a lot of deficiencies in that fight with Lipski. At least showed there a lot of, the levels.
Well, it's crazy with these submission artists that are so good on the ground, even like Charles Oliveira, but they get finished by submission a lot too.
Yeah. What I find interesting here about Botello, 8 wins, 6 via knockout.
Finishes fights.
That is a very rare feat for a UFC women's fighter. Usually it's been well documented. Women's MMA tends to be more decision heavy. So when you have a woman like Botello who is finishing fights at that rate, definitely sticks out a little bit. And even in her UFC performances, she's 3-2, as you mentioned. She does have a TKO win in the UFC.
Yep. Does she get another, though? This is a tough fight to predict because they're so just dead even in a heap,
between the two, I think the best win between both these women is, I think, the Carolina's win over Priscilla Cachoeira.
Yeah.
But I think I'm still going to side with Botello here.
Okay.
And I think I am going to go via decision.
I agree.
I think Luana is at least good enough. She is also someone that tends to be better on the feet. So I think she's going to be good enough on the feet to make this fight at least somewhat competitive. Mm-hmm. But I don't think there's enough of a talent discrepancy for either woman to really get finished here. I think it'll be very
back and forth.
I don't know if back and forth's the right word. I think it'll be a pretty clear win for Botello, but I don't think it'll be
overwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going the same route though. I think Botello gets the decision win. Seen more of her in the UFC, especially against higher level competition, and that's where I think that slight edge and veteranness, if you will side with her. I think she gets it done over the course of 3 rounds with a decision.
I will just throw this out there. Botello, very good Muay Thai striking. Mm-hmm. If this fight goes to the clinch, which Muay Thai fighters very dangerous in the clinch, but if Carolina does have the edge in the grappling that I don't see, don't be surprised if she gets the fight to the ground through those exchanges gets a finish there. But I'm just throwing that out there. That's not how I see it going. Moving on.
Fun one. Very
Two
important
top
one.
15 men's bantamweights here. Merab Balishvili.
Yes.
Haven't seen him since our very first pay-per-view preview episode.
It's crazy.
For UFC 252.
He's been too busy jumping into ice.
Yeah. He's going up against Cody Stamann.
Good fight here, Noah. So Merab's 12-4, 5-2 in the UFC. He's got 2 KO TKOs, 1 submission. Notable wins against Casey Kenny, Gustavo Lopez, and John Dodson. All of those via decision. He started in the UFC 0-2, now on a 5-fight win streak here. So bringing a lot of momentum. Finally ranked in that top 15. The lone notable loss in the UFC, Ricky Simone. That was via submission. We're big war Ricky guys.
That loss is looking better and better now.
Ricky Simone's an absolute dog. And then on the other end, we've got Cody Stamann. He's 19-3 with 1 draw, 5-2-1 in the UFC. 6 KO TKOs, 2 submissions. 4 of those have came in the first round. Notable wins against Brian Caraway via split decision, Alejandro Perez via decision, and Brian Boom Kelleher via decision. Just a couple days after the tragic passing of his brother in that fight too. Mm-hmm. So we got to see him. That was an
emotional one for him.
Very emotional, and just showed his warrior spirit in that one. And his notable losses, I mean, heck, Aljamain Sterling, Merab's training partner, via submission, and Jimmy Rivera via decision. I mean, look at the level of competition that this guy's already faced.
Yeah.
And each of these guys came into the UFC in 2017. This is only their 4th year in.
This is a tough fight to predict because not only because of how even these guys are, at least it appears talent-wise, but also their styles kind of mimic each other very closely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're the same kind of grapplers, but they both tend to get this fight to the ground.
Merab has a very Habib style approach.
He's a very Mauler type.
Yes.
Cody Stamann, I think, shows a little more finesse.
He's a very slick grappler.
More slick, yeah.
And I think now, even with his prowess on the ground, he's going to want to keep this standing against a guy like Merab.
And he probably has the edge on the feet.
Yeah, definitely with the power, too.
But is he good enough on the feet?
Can he keep it on the feet?
Right. I mean, and is he really good enough to really do damage to Merab, you know?
Merab did show some things on the feet against his last fight in John Dodson when he wasn't taking him down.
He was pressuring him very much in that entire fight.
Here's a fun fact I love about Merab. 7 fights in the UFC. You know how many takedowns he has?
How many?
54.
That's a lot of takedowns.
Yeah. It's quite insane. That's over 6 takedowns a fight on average.
I think I'm going to side with the gentleman I'm going to ride the hot hand.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Merab Dvalishvili via decision. I do think Cody Stamann's going to have a hard time keeping this fight on the feet.
It's the pressure of Merab, man.
And once this fight's on the ground, it will be interesting to see if Cody Stamann can
he get up?
Can he get up? Can he take Merab down? Like, it'd be interesting to see. I do think Cody Stamann might be a little bit overlooked in this matchup, but more so just because I do like Cody Stamann. I'm still going to go with Merab.
Tough fight, man.
It's a tough fight.
Yeah, I've got Merab the same way. I just think he can maul people for 3 rounds. We've seen him do it for 5 straight fights, and I think he does it here for a 6th one. He takes the decision. I think Cody gives him some issues, but nothing that Merab can't handle. And again, with his pressure and his grappling, it's just immense, and it's going to be very hard and very draining for Cody. I think that's going to be the biggest X factor.
All right. Moving on.
Fun one
at middleweight here. 2 fringe top 15 contenders.
Sean's now
starting
number 15,
with the number 15 contender, Sean Strickland, going up against a guy who's bounced back and forth from top 15 to right outside, Krzysztof Jotko.
And man, by the numbers here in terms of wins losses, you couldn't have made it any better.
Yeah.
So Sean is 22-3, 9-3 in the UFC with 10 KO TKOs, 4 submissions. 9 of those 13 finishes have came in the first round. He's got notable wins against Tom Breese via decision, Court McGee via decision, and a TKO in his last outing against Brendan Allen. He looked damn good in that fight. Mm-hmm. Notable losses to Santiago Ponzinibbio via decision, and of course, the now, or soon to be anyways, but to the ESPN reporters, number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world right now, Kamaru Usman. So, pretty stacked resume there. And then for Jotko, he's 22-4, 9-4 in the UFC. He's got 6 KO TKOs, 1 submission. 4 of his finishes have came in the first round. Notable wins against a name that I usually struggle with, but I'm just going to spitball it here anyway. Thales Leites.
Yep.
Booyah.
Got it.
Via decision, and then a decision over Eric Anders. Notable losses to David Branch via split decision, and then 2 TKO losses to Uriah Hall and Brad Tavares. What are you thinking here, Noah?
These guys, again, very evenly matched. Both brown belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Could we be in for
we only got a
low-key banger? Question
Could
mark?
be 1 inch reach discrepancy. I do think Sean Strickland's the more well-rounded of these two fighters.
Mm-hmm.
He does have some submission wins, and we don't see it a lot, but he is very capable when the fight gets to the ground. I don't have the same faith in Krzysztof Jotko. That fight with David Branch, I actually just watched that, weirdly enough, yesterday.
Nice. Look at you.
I watched the whole card yesterday.
Such a connoisseur.
Yeah, very strange, but in that fight, Jotko really had nothing when that fight got to the ground. Nothing. And I'm not saying that that's going to be Strickland's route to victory.
But you think it might be in the
But
cards?
I think that at least Jotko's going to have to respect that ability that Strickland does have. And that might make him a little gun shy on the feet. Mm-hmm. So that Strickland might be able to piece him up more on the feet. I'm going Sean Strickland. And you know what? I'm not about to predict 5 or 6 decisions on here.
Me neither, Noah.
I'm going Sean Strickland via finish. I'm going to go with a 3rd round KO TKO.
Same. Exactly what I'm going with. I think Sean really showed how slept on he is in his last
Brendan
fight.
Allen
When he took
fight.
out Brendan Allen like that, and you look at what Brendan Allen just did at 261, made it look easy against Carl Roberson.
Mm-hmm.
So for Strickland to go in there and do that to him, knock him out cold essentially, out on the feet, this guy's very well-rounded, very slept on. But after this weekend, people are going to know his name. I think he gets the 3rd round KO TKO here.
Awesome.
Co-main? Or wait, no. We have 6 fights. Not the co-main.
Light heavyweight.
He's back.
We got a late replacement here. Jan Kudaleva going up against the kind of unknown Dustin Jacoby.
But we're about to let him know.
Mm-hmm.
But first off, Kudalaba, 15 wins, 6 losses, 4-5 in the UFC, 12 KO TKOs, 2 submissions. That's 14 out of 15 wins via finish. 13 of those 14 finishes have came in round number 1. Notable win, to me, truthfully only one. I may be playing hardball here with my notables, but sue me. Khalil Roundtree TKO'd him, looked very impressive in that fight. That was also the weigh-in where he got all up in his grill and Khalil jumped, and it was just really funny. Notable losses, Misha Serkinov in his UFC debut via submission, lost the decision to Jared Cannonier, got submitted by Glover Teixeira, and of course, the rivalry with Magomed Ankalaev, lost twice, once via the most awkward TKO in the history of the sport, and the second time, he went to sleep.
Yeah, that was bad. That first one, though, that walk across the cage, come on.
Pretty wild shit.
That's comedy.
And for on the other end, the unknown, as Noah said, Dustin Jacoby, 14-5, but he's 2-0 in the UFC, and he entered into the UFC from the Contender Series 1-0 on that show. He's got 9 KO TKOs, 1 submission, and 4 of those 10 finishes have came in the first round. Notable wins, Justin Ledette via TKO and Maxim Grishin via decision. Notable loss, he lost to David Branch at World Series of Fighting number 1 in 2012 via decision. But Noah, although he has 19 MMA fights, we've got a world-class kickboxer on our hands.
Yep. In 2018, Dustin Jacoby was the number 8 ranked middleweight kickboxer in the world.
And that's going to cause some problems.
Now, here's what I'll say. So, even though Jacoby's going to be slept on a little bit in this matchup, I think, in my opinion, I'm going to turn this fight on its head a little bit. Jacoby should be the clear favorite here.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Kudalava's style is very much kill or be killed.
Yeah.
But Jacoby's got the credentials of a world-class striker.
Yeah, don't just sleep on that.
He is a world-class kickboxer.
Yeah.
And Kudalava doesn't quite match up.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good, but his style, I think, is just going to kind of lend itself
He gets wild, man.
to a Jacoby win here. Mm-hmm. But I will also say that it's not as clear as it looks. For some reason, when these world-class kickboxers transfer over to the UFC, it's not always, to the moon. Some of these guys have wavered and faltered pretty hard. Not every one of them is style bender,
Yeah, and the guy we're going to talk about in the co-main.
Right. But I am going to side with Dustin Jacoby here. He's looked good in his first 2 UFC performances. This is a large step up for him. But rather than it being too much too soon, I think it's going to be a coming out party. I'm going to round 1 KO TKO for Dustin Jacoby. I like Kudalava. respect that guy's game all the time. It's a bad matchup for him, in my opinion.
We've had 2 back-to-back fights with the exact same prediction, no?
Nice.
I'm going Dustin Jacoba, high five. First round KO TKO. I think that kickboxing is really going to play a factor here. We've seen Kudalapa be very vulnerable to getting hit. And when he gets hit, he can go to sleep. We just saw it in his last fight. I think Jacoby's going to have the power here. I think he's going to get it done with some technical, clean striking. And when it gets time to put him away, he's going to put him away first round. KO TKO for Jacoby, and a big win at that for him, and only his 3rd UFC fight. That's a big name.
Mm-hmm.
Now the co-main.
Now the co-main event.
This fight is something. This fight is
featherweight action. Cub Swanson.
He's back.
Going up against Giga Chikadze.
And I tell you, we've got another ageless wonder here because Cub Swanson looked like a killer in his last fight.
Hence the name.
Yes. And we've got a bit of a resume to go through here, so pardon me.
Sure.
27 wins, 11 losses, 12-7 in the UFC for Cub. 12 KO TKOs, 4 submissions, 7 of those 16 have came in the first round. Notable wins, Ross Pearson and Charles Oliveira, both via KO TKO. A decision over Dustin Poirier. TKO Dennis Seaver. Decision wins, all here 4 in a row. Jeremy Stevens, Doo Ho Choi, the GOAT Artem Lobov, and Kron Gracie. And like I mentioned in his last outing, KO'd Daniel Pineda in what could have arguably been a walk-off, but he went in for one extra one just because. Notable losses, again, quite the resume. Jens Pulver at WEC 31 in 2007 via submission. Jose Aldo at WEC 41 in 2009 via TKO. Chad Money Mendez at WEC 50 in 2010 via decision. Now we're into the UFC here. Submission loss to Ricardo Lamas. Lost to Frankie Edgar twice. Once via submission, once via decision. These next 3 are all via submission. Max Holloway, Brian Ortega, and Renato Moicano. And his most recent loss, a split decision to Shane Burgos, who's fighting at the next pay-per-view in a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. For Giga, that's a sick name.
It really is.
Giga Chikadze.
I want to name my kid that.
Giga Baker. That actually kind of sounds good. Giga is 12-2 in a perfect 5-0 in the UFC and a low-key fighter of the year last year. Just saying. 7 KO TKOs, 1 submission. All 8 of those finishes have came in the first round. Notable wins against Erwin Rivera via decision and Omar Morales via decision. And he's riding a 7-fight win streak coming into this. But no, he's fighting a dog. And Cub Swanson.
Well, you know I'm a big Killer Cub fan.
How can you not be?
Everybody should be a fan of Killer Cub. I mean,
legend.
The guy's been doing it for so long.
Look at those names.
As you just ran through the resume, the guy's, again, another guy who comes to bang. He's killer be killed much of the time. And
is he bald with the times?
And really, yeah. He's one of those
like
guys.
Arlovsky.
He's not, but I would say he's not even like Arlovsky at this point. I think he's still got a lot left.
I do agree.
I think, as much as I love Andrei Arlovsky, I tend to look at his fights and go, okay, he's getting through these by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah.
It's like somehow, some way.
Yeah.
But with Killer Cub, I think this guy is showing so much more in his fights.
With a knockout
Look at that Daniel Pineda fight. Pineda looked unbeatable in his...
That was, by the way, Pineda, 26 wins at that point, I believe, something like that. All of them via first, KO, TKO. Crazy.
And Killer Cub beat him on the feet.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an awesome performance. But he's going up against world-class striking here. Giga Chikadze. Not only a world-class kickboxer, third-degree black belt in karate as well. Now, Cub Swanson, black belt in BJJ.
Yep.
So, clear routes to victory here, right?
You would think. Cub likes to bang, though.
Cub likes to bang. I think Cub needs to get this fight to the ground.
He could be in some trouble.
But he's proven me wrong before. I mean, he's totally capable of ending this fight in one shot. If I'm looking at this fight from a striking perspective, I'm going to side with Giga Chikadze. Even though this is a big step up for Chikadze. A guy who was very active in 2020, as you alluded to. Low-key fighter of the year talk.
Yeah, he was.
But this is a big step up. That's why he wasn't in fighter of the year talk, because you didn't really know most of his opponents. Yeah. But there's a reason why his name is on a lot of people's mind right now, even with the lackluster, I guess, opponents.
Well, and there's a reason this is a co-main event.
Yeah.
Well,
this is my fight of the night pick. I'm gonna start there.
Yeah, fight of the night here. I agree.
And because I think this fight's actually going to go to a decision.
I agree.
But I'm going with Giga Chikadze.
I disagree.
I think so. I think Cub Swanson, as great as he is, I think he is going to fall too in love with just. I think this fight's going to get really good. And he's going to be like, I don't want to take
And
this
at that
guy
point,
down.
can he win on the feet over the course of 3?
I'm not saying he can.
But
I think if I go out of 100 times, I think Giga Chikadze wins more than he loses.
Especially if you're going to start talking like the point fighting style of stand-up. Because Cub's not coming to do that.
No.
But Giga can easily do that. And we've seen him do that.
So I'm going Chikadze via decision. Fight of the night. Going to be a banger, I think.
I think this is fight of the night as well. I am siding with the veteran. Last week, or maybe it wasn't last week, but the week before, I split 1-1 with the veteran and the rookies. This one I'm going Cub Swanson, Killer Cub. I think he does get it done over the course of 3 rounds. I think he wins a decision. I think this is a big step up for Giga, rightfully so and well earned. I think Cub can at least hold competitive on the feet, and if he can grapple a little bit, clinch up a little bit. We saw him utilize the clinch against Pineda. I think that's where he can find a little bit of success and just squeeze away with a decision victory, and what would be a very big win for him at this stage of his career.
Yeah, it's hard to point out any flaws in that kind of logic, Now time for the main event of the evening. The fight at light heavyweight. Dominick Reyes, Jiri Prochazka. Rule out the red carpet for these guys.
Well, first off, Dominick, cool first name. You do spell it wrong, my friend. You got to take that K off of there. No, I'm just kidding. All Dominicks are welcomed here with the Joes. Dominick Reyes is 12-2, 6-2 in the UFC. He's got 7 KO TKOs, 2 submissions, all 9 of his finishes in the first round. Notable wins: Jared Cannonier via TKO, a decision over Ovent St. Preux, a split decision against Volkan Oezdemir, and then a brutal one-punch KO of Chris Weidman, which earned him the aforementioned title shot against John Jones. Which leads me into the notable losses because, number 1 on that list, the first loss of his career was to arguably the greatest fighter of all time, John Jones, and then he fights for the vacated belt against Jan Blachowicz last September and gets TKO'd in the second round and left with a damn near foot brand on the side of his body from Jan's left foot. So he's now 12-2 on a 2-fight losing streak after being undefeated coming into this bout. Noah's boy, Jiri Prochazka, 28 years old, 31 professional fights.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
It's a lot. 27
wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, but he's only 1-0 in the UFC. Crazy. 24 KO TKOs, 2 submissions. That's 26 out of 27 via finish, and 23 of those 26 have been finished in the first round. Notable wins: the current Bellator light heavyweight champion. He TKO'd Vadim Nemkov back in Rizin in 2015. He KO'd CB Dalloway, former UFC fighter, in Rizin at 2019 via KO. And then in his UFC debut, he KO'd Volkan Oezdemir. Was that second round?
Yeah, it was literally
soon in.
Less than a minute.
Yeah. He's riding an 11-fight win streak coming into this. Former Rizin light heavyweight champion, an absolute unit, a beast, a very wild, wild man. Noah, how does that favor him in this fight? Or
tell you
not favor him?
Tell you what doesn't favor him, that haircut.
Uh-oh.
What is going on with that thing?
Well, according to him at Media Day, he said he's using it as an antenna for Wi-Fi.
Cringe. I cringe. But I love Jiri Prochazka. I've been big on this guy since he debuted in the UFC.
I think if he wins, you do your hair that way.
Oh my. See, you can't say that kind of things on this broadcast.
Okay.
Now, this fight is really interesting because you have Jiri Prochazka has like 3 times the amount of fights professionally that Dominick Reyes has, but Dominick Reyes has so much more UFC experience than Jiri Prochazka. So it's kind of like how much more who really has the advantage as far as talent-wise or octagon time, whatever you want to call it, like who really has the advantage there. This fight I think is going to be really... I think it's going to be a war for as long as it lasts. I've been going back and forth with it. I really have. I have a hard time. At first I had a hard time really on our drive to get food today. I was saying, this is true. I was like, I have a hard time believing that this fight's going to get finished. And then somehow on my ride home, and as we've been recording here, I'm like, I have a hard time thinking this fight's going to go to a decision.
That's what I'm thinking. Either way.
Dominick Reyes being the guy on a 2-fight losing streak, you really got to look in a little deeper to that because one of those is to John Jones.
And arguably a win.
We thought he won that, but the follow-up fight to Jan Blachowicz, there was no doubt in Blachowicz' dominance. It
didn't even look, and this is no discredit to Jan because we know how good Blachowicz has looked recently, but Dom looked just, I don't know if he maybe just came in underestimating Blachowicz.
You got to think. A lot of people were underestimating Blachowicz
because this is a guy that arguably just beat John Jones, but then comes in against a guy definitely of lesser caliber than John Jones and Jan Blachowicz, and really laid a dud and got dominated.
I think the power was a shot to Dominick Reyes.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think he was expecting to be hurt because it was really one leg kick to the ribs, and he had a wet.
That was brutal.
And you got to think that just put him in the shell shock.
And then you get hit with the legendary Polish power. Yeah. Oof.
Now, here's my thing, though.
The legendary Czech power.
Can he really hang with the power of Jiri Prochazka? And Jiri not only is going to pressure you like Jan Blachowicz did to Reyes in that fight, but he's a wild man. Now, that could open him up to get caught with a counter.
Yeah, very true.
Very much so, Dominick Reyes could really make a statement here, knock out Jiri Prochazka.
Boy, and I think...
But... There's a reason that Jiri Prochazka has got the record he does, 27-3-1. He doesn't get finished very often. Even fights where he gets hurt in, he comes back and wins. I saw a big clip going around Twitter of him getting rocked, ending the fight on a big uppercut.
Yeah,
and it was like in less than a minute.
Oh, he's got the one-shot power, man.
So I'm gonna side with my boy, Jiri Prochazka. I think he's got the tools to be a champion in the UFC.
And probably will earn a title shot after this. Just maybe.
And I'm going to go via. I'll give Dominick Reyes till the third round. I'm going to go to third round KO TKO for Jiri Prochazka.
So here's I want to pose one question. We like to pose questions to each other with these main events sometimes, right? Okay. So here's going to be mine. We're talking 5 rounds here. And we've seen Dom go the distance, especially with a guy like John Jones in a fight we thought he won. And Jiri, on the other hand, hardly ever goes the distance. He's literally finished, 26 of his fights, and 23 of those have came in the first round. This guy doesn't get much time in that cage. If Dom can just stay alive, avoid the big shots early, what are we thinking should we approach rounds 4 and 5 here? Does it start to favor toward Dom, or does that power of Jiri stay with him for
I know Dom didn't necessarily look bad in the later rounds of the Jones fight, but he lost those rounds. That's why he lost the fight. Mm-hmm. He started out hot, and then as the fight went on, he slowed down. So I don't really know if that's even... sure, he didn't get finished. He went 5 rounds.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily say he has the big advantage in that aspect.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued to see if it does go those championship rounds, who will truthfully come out better. That's a good point.
I would be interested to see if Prochazka, how compromised he is, because he is a wild man.
And if that power stays for 25 minutes,
the power's got to be there. You just got to wonder if he was very fluid on the feet, just like his movement was. He
does
really
move
good.
A lot, doesn't he, for a light heavyweight?
He's gonna have to slow down eventually. That's interesting. I'm gonna stick with my prediction, but that is Dominick Reyes, man, he got cracked.
Yeah, he did, man.
It might not... I don't know if he's... Polish power is a thing, don't get me wrong, but Prochazka's a dangerous man.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see even if Dom maybe even tries to come out with a little bit more grappling approach. He's got to be hesitant of the power here of Jiri. But all these question marks aside, it's time for me to make a pick so people are quit being antsy. Jiri Prochazka, I think he gets it done. I think he passes a huge test, comes in, goes 2-0 in the UFC, and arguably probably is going to get a title shot after this. I'm going to be honest, especially when he gets it done via a second round KO, TKO in the UFC Vegas 25 main event.
Nice. We had very similar predictions there.
We did.
But that is going to wrap up our preview for hashtag UFC Vegas 25. Let us know your thoughts on this main card coming up this Saturday. And make sure to check out these fights. Prelims start at 7 p.m. Main card starts at 10 p.m. You can check all of it out on ESPN Plus, ESPN2,
or
ESPN the Network.
Yes.
But until then, Dominic, tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Find me on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. No, I'm just kidding. At Diesely14. Find the podcast, more importantly, on Twitter and Instagram at BAJ_MMA podcast, because there may or may not have been a little bit of a sprinkle of a teaser that went out today when we're recording this. So,
Big announcement upcoming.
I'd go ahead and give us a follow. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and say big announcement upcoming.
Yeah, that's all. Go ahead.
Send them on a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
Go look at the Twitter.
Yeah.
And Instagram.
Decipher the code.
Yeah.
It's not that. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention for Monday.
Oh, damn it.
Results and recap for this card that were for everything we previewed here, along with prelim notables and the news. That'll be on Monday. And we will have a special episode next week.
What will it be? We don't know.
We'll have to wait and find out.
Yes,
Maybe that's what we're teasing. I don't know. No, it's not.
It's not.
But
we're really keeping them on their toes today.
As for me, if you go to my bio on Twitter or Instagram at ntbaker_, you'll be taken to our link tree, which gives you the links to all the platforms that the podcast is on, along with the social media platforms. That includes the Twitter, the Instagram, the YouTube channel, and Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. It's all on there, baby. And there's a couple links for the Anchor page. First, leaving a voice message. If you have a thought about an upcoming fight, a news story, if you just want to say hi or tell us we're a piece of shit, you do it there. And there's a link if you want to become a supporter of the podcast. That just provides with a few dollars a month, and all that money goes back into improving the quality of the podcast, whether it be audio equipment or down the line doing a video podcast. So again, you can find all that if you go to my bio on Twitter or Instagram at...
What are you giggling?
We
gotta cut this shit. Cut it off. Come on, end it.
We're out. We'll see y'all on